Super excited, the new harness has arrived. But rather than doing an unboxing video, I'm actually going to have Chris Olsen, the owner of Bauer Electronics, walk us through the process of what they're doing, how they build it, and why it's so much better.
Recently, we finished a complete wiring system for a 1967 Lincoln Continental convertible. This is an original power tray harness out of a 67 Lincoln convertible. It looks like just the tape is coming off it, but if you look closer, there's broken terminals, overheated terminals, broken and damaged wire here and here. The tape doesn't concern me that much because that's a quick fix for somebody, but broken wires and damaged wires are difficult to repair for some guys, and they're easy to overlook if they're just going to tape this harness up. That's one of the reasons I like to have the harnesses changed out. There's also resistance that gets built up in these older harnesses, making them not as effective to run all the controls and etc. To get the process started, we begin by making prints for the harness, which just starts with figuring out the connector and the colors and the distance between each branches and maybe the relay connectors on there. So this gets drawn out with all the measurements and everything my guys need to know to build the harness. So each of the wires are numbered, and then they go, the next thing I build a cut sheet for it that has wire number 1, then it says what connectors on it, the gauge, the color, and at the other end, it's doubled with a female receptacle and the length of it. So when we go to the next step in the cutting room, they just cut each wire, and whatever quantity we decide we're going to make that part. We also make prints for the customer to show them how to install the harnesses without any of the measurements and all the detailed stuff that we need in production. So these are just straight prints for the customer to show where each item connects to, or if it connects to another wire harness, that will be listed on here. And if there's any other notes the customer needs will be on here. This is our reproduction of the power tray harness with all the correct colored molded ends, which I'll be showing you in the video. The harness is taped with non-adhesive tape and cloth tape where the areas needed more chafe protection like the original. We also made clips to match the originals on our 3D printer. The relay connectors are also made on our 3D printer, and they are perfect. And our 3D printers are there. We're in the wire cutting area. This is the first step of the harness manufacturing part. Our cutting and stripping machine. So we'll work down the wire sheet that I showed you in the other room, gauge, color, all that. So we'll set this up with the strip lengths and the length of the wire and the quantity. So we'll just run a short piece here to show you how this works. So we'll push go. It's going to zero itself, make the front strip, measure it, cut it, and make the back strip. So it'll just go until we cut 25 or whatever the quantity we're going to make. And that's it. We'll work down the sheet until everything's cut. And then we'll take it into the assembly area and get all the terminals put on it. The next step, we put on terminals. That's what all these terminating presses do. We try to have a terminal and a die set for each terminal we put on. So they're all different ring terminals, different sizes, different manufacturers of all the different terminals that we end up molding. All right, Sean's going to show us how we mold all the ends. So we have all these different molds. This one happens to be a flat 4-way bullet mold. So we just started loading the terminals into the mold. So once all the terminals are in the mold, it gets shuttled over. Then the plunger goes down, pushes the material into the mold, gets shuttled over, may have to pick off the excess, and the part gets pulled out, and there's the finished part. Once all the terminals are put on and the connectors are molded, we build a board and we put all the wires into it and spot tape it together. And we just work off the print and all of that. And once this gets done, the next step is taping it. So the next step in the process is taping the harness. So Anna is going to show us how she does that. So she's stopping, pulling out any breakouts or branches, and you're always looking to have a 50% coverage. Perfect. Now that you've seen the manufacturing process, here's the finished power tray harness laying between all these bins. Each bin represents a wire harness in that 67 Lincoln convertible. So all these bins are required to complete the car. So the next step is finishing all these and then putting them into the inventory. So we're moving through our wire cutting area, headed towards our inventory where all the finished wire harnesses are. We're in our finished wire harness area. Once harnesses are completed, they go into their designated boxes with an inventory control number and the quantity, and they're ready to be ordered. So all those bins you've seen next to the power tray harness, once those are completed, we'll make a box for them and they'll end up in this extensive inventory. That completes our tour of Bauer Electronics.